rio Chaporá, juntamente com outros rios de Goa, constituem como que o coração da economia de Goa. Graças a uma extensa rede de canais e de estuários, já no século XVI, quando os portugueses aqui chegaram, este pequenino território constitui um importante entreposto de comércio. Hoje, as águas destes rios não só são importantes para a agricultura e para a pesca, como também para a exploração mineira e para o turismo, principalmente os casinos. Praticamente toda a economia de Goa gera-se à volta dos rios. Os dois maiores rios são o Mandovi e o Zoari, que sozinhos recebem 69% da água da chuva e dão abrigo ainda a 50% da economia de Goa.
Actually, Goa is full of rivers and the estuaries. It's a beautiful place where we have on the eastern side the mountains, the Western Ghats, and the Arabian Sea to the western side, and in between this beautiful land is full of rivers and estuaries. There is river Terekon, there is river Shapura, Mandvi, Zuari, Sal, Talpon, and Galjibak. These are the main rivers. Total area is Goa is around 3,000. Out of this 3,000, catchment area of the river is 1,500. So almost half of it.
Goan rivers are like the veins of Goan economy. Would you like to comment on that?
Prior to liberation, the economy was based on the rivers. Everything was around the rivers. For example, the capital of Goa was on the river. It's because it was possible for the trade to take place. And even the trade from Arbastan, Arabian horses were brought at Old Goa. And people who were owning the fields and people who were owning the ships were considered as rich people. And the trade is to take place. Apart from the trade and the water for the agriculture, these rivers were very much useful for giving production of horticulture, and we used to have it as a tourism center, because even the tourist places and the temples are situated on the river lines. Apart from these rivers, we have got lakes, and these lakes are near every temple. That means the water plays important role not only in the economy of Goans, but also it has a cultural aspect. We have got fishing because of rivers. We have got tourism because of rivers. We have got drinking water because of these rivers. We have got agriculture because of these rivers, and the horticulture, and this greenery that we have, and the beauty that we have, which is appreciated by everybody, is only because of these rivers. So the economy and the cultural life is covered with the water and the ship.
Em Goa existe sistema de agricultura milenar que no tempo dos portugueses se designava de kazanas. Kazanas não são mais do que áreas de terra reclamada aos rios e que são protegidas por diques e com portas de água.
If you look at the structure of Goa, the land is very low. It's possible for sea waters to enter inside. And if there is a flood, the waters go right inside. So the lands are very low. So this are maintained by protection.
First documentation of Kazan lands, as we see in literature, the records are in 6th AD. That is the first written documentation of Kazan lands. This is the point which receives water, and it is at a lower level than the line, the Kazan line. And you will see there is all the intricate system of smaller dikes, which are the inner bunds, which are called as inner bunds, and a thick outer bund. Now this is made of the clay from the Kazan fields itself. And also there is a traditional technology which is followed. It prevents the Kazan fields from the riverine water. What happens is, in between they lay a trench, And this trench is filled with the clay, very sticky clay from the agricultural fields itself, from the Kazan lands only. This clay acts as a cementing substance and it holds the two sides together.
ह्या कामाक पयलीं पासून म्हाका 50 वर्सां जाली हांव ह्या कामान घडटा कित्याक ज्या वखदार खावटी पडटा ही म्हणटा सगळें हांव म्हाज्या हातीन तारादा करता लोकांचेर पातयना म्हाज्या हातीन हांव काम करून घेता भायलें पाणी भितर येता म्हणून ताका लागून हें बांदता ह्या वखदार ताका भायल्यान झाडां लायता चिकोल घातलेलो तो होनाळटा ताका लागून ताका भायल्यान झाडां लायता आनी भितर ताका चिकोल घालता.
Kazan farms are monsoon based and during monsoon there are agricultural operations carried. And once after it is harvested, during monsoon there is a ban on fishing in Kazan fields or near sluice gates. As you can see, these are the sluice gates which can be closed and opened automatically with the tidal force. During the high tide they are closed so that the water ingress, the saline water is stopped. It prevents inundation of fields, agricultural fields from saline water.
Além do cultivo do arroz, criou ainda formas naturais de áreas destinadas à piscicultura. São, pois, responsáveis pelos dois alimentos base de Goa, o peixe e o arroz.
Kazan lands, basically the traditional lands, is an integrated agriculture-aquaculture system. We see this type of ecosystem, rice and fish cultivation in many parts of not only India but even other parts of South Asia and Southeast Asia. The fish comes for breeding into less saline water. Traditionally, they don't feed anything. They don't give any extra feed, no external feed supplied. When the fish comes, it grows on the paddy straw which is left after the harvest. So that is the fish which grows. So in a way it converts inedible proteins of this straw into edible proteins, fish. And when it is grown and becomes fully adult, it goes back, it migrates back to the sea to be recruited to the adult stock. And it migrates during the dark hours of the night. So that is when the fish is caught. They put a net, bag net near the sluice gate so that the fish which goes to the sea to be recruited is caught. On an average, they fish for about 7 hours during the dark hours. In the earlier times, agriculture was the main operation, and fishing started as a revenue to protect the agricultural fields. However, today, fishing has become the main source of revenue.
Hoje, sendo a piscicultura economicamente mais rentável, muitas vezes os donos da terra recorrem a métodos menos aconselháveis para criar peixe.
If the bunds are protected by tenant association constantly, then there is not going to have a problem. But here, the bunds are not protected because of fishing, because they want to do illegal fishing. Therefore, they break the bunds and take the water inside so that they can breed the fish in the field, which is illegal. In spite of this, it goes on.
Kazan technology is clearly one example where you can see that there was comprehensive ecological knowledge among the promoters. Even the mangroves, you will see on the outer side there are mangroves. Mangroves are known to be very productive systems, ecosystems, and they are the breeding and feeding grounds of fish. So you see agriculture, aquaculture, they are also used as salt pans in some areas.
Em 1955-56, mais de 500 explorações mineiras foram concessionadas pelos portugueses às famílias importantes de Goa. Portugal tentava reagir assim ao bloqueio económico que a União Indiana provocava para empurrar os portugueses para fora deste Estado. Esta decisão não só revitalizou a economia de Goa, por esta altura se encontrava decadente, como passou também a marcar uma relação mais ativa de Goa com Portugal. Hoje, a exploração mineira representa 40% a 50% das exportações de Goa. E se em 1954 já se exportava 1 milhão de toneladas de minério, hoje, devido à sua procura, principalmente na China, exportam-se 33 milhões de toneladas de ferro, manganês e bauxite. Se por um lado esta exportação traz prosperidade a este pequeno Estado, por outro afeta não só a fauna marinha como a flora de Goa. How has mining affected our rivers?
Because of mining, the mountain tops have become bare. There are no trees. The trees are cut down. As a result of this, we have got less of rain. Not only that, the mud from those mines, they are changed. They are put in some other places, either in the field or the places which are close to the lakes. Therefore, water bodies are affected. And therefore, in certain mining areas, the drinking water has become a problem. The mine owners are also helping. They are helping the people in a different way, because people want the mining because they get the livelihood. Some people are running the trucks, some are getting the job in the mining company. But ultimately, the ecology and environment has taken a toll.
The early Portuguese might have been very brutal and very ferocious in their missionary zeal, imperialistic zeal, but they mellowed after a while. And they built the city of Panjim, for instance, beautiful city. There is no city like this in the whole of India. So the Portuguese had an aesthetic eye. They were ecologically conscious also. They did not spoil our hills, they did not spoil our forests, our land. They had value for it. But what have the Indians done? Very rapidly in the last 5 years in Goa, hills are being stripped bare, construction is coming up everywhere on hilltops, forests are being cleared, green fields are being filled, complete mayhem all over.
The government wants mining, the mine owners wants mining, people want mining, and the people like us who feel that's going to cause a harm to the ecology and the environment, and we are going to kill very hen which is laying the golden eggs, should not be killed. That's what we feel. And actually the mining is needed, environment is needed for the sake of human beings, but if it has to be done in a calculated way. There is mining in other parts of the world, but not much raw is heard of in Britain and other parts of the country. Why only in Goa and some of the places in India?
Western world has realized its excesses, and the Western world has done a much better job now of conserving their environment, where Indians should have learned from the mistakes of the West. You don't repeat the same mistakes, only a fool repeats the mistakes that others make. So what the Portuguese did not do in 450 years, we have successfully accomplished in just the last 5 years.
Today mining is very huge, it's doubled, and so the quantity of mining sediment that's getting into the rivers is in the region of 120,000 tons. That's a bare minimum, it could be more. And it gets in because we are part of an ecological cycle. The rivers are the drainage of Goa. This is the only place in the country which has got 11 rivers. Now God has had some reason for giving us 11 rivers, but it's because of the topography of the land and the way the hydrological cycle works. So the monsoon comes, it hits the Western Ghats. From there it percolates down and goes into the rivers and it goes back to the sea. It's a perfect cycle. Now anything that gets into the cycle gets carried along with that cycle. So we have a rainfall of 120 inches per year, and it comes in 4 months. And anything that's kept in the open, whether it's a pollutant from a factory or whether it's a mining reject or mud removed from mining operations, within those 4 months is going to go into the rivers.
The proper care is not taken. For example, refilling the pits and putting the vegetation on the pits, or taking care not to destroy the water bodies and the fields. If this care is taken, I don't think mining can create a problem.
Clams are a very important part of the Goan's diet. I mean, Shenanios, Tisrios, all these shellfish, category of shellfish crabs, all these are very important component, and we normally utilize them when we don't have an opportunity of going out to the sea. For example, during the months of the monsoon, when there's a ban on fishing, and people then begin to use all sorts of other ways to get their access to fish protein. At that time, these things are very important for the local people. Now, most of this type of marine organisms, they grow and they multiply on the river beds, and they require that that is their ecology, that is the place where they can breed and survive and so on. Now, and that is mostly in the saline area. It is the interface between it's actually in the estuarine area. That is the interface between the salt and the sweet water that goes on all the time. The same sort of place where you have the mangroves coming up. Now, these type of organisms, since they are at the bottom, they need constant they need constant opening of the shell to breathe. Now, what happens is that in most of these places where mining has taken place and where the sediments have got into the mining beds, this sediment has formed a huge layer on the Zuari and Mandovi estuarine beds. With the result is that the clam population which is there has been completely decimated and asphyxiated. I mean, they have created a whole new and artificial environment there in which they can't survive.
Apesar destas concessões terem sido dadas em termos perpétuos, hoje há que pensar se devem ser mantidas ou não.
We should have been intelligent enough to say that, okay, these mining leases which were given by the Portuguese 100 years ago or something, I mean, they were given at that time for manual operations. Right now, we can re-examine whether mining and Goa can coexist. It was a good opportunity, because when we began to develop tourism as a big industry and we began to develop other things like industrial estates and so on, we could make a calculation and say that now between the three, industry, tourism and mining, should we not phase out mining? Because mining is an inherently destructive industry. It's an extractive industry. You extract the ore, but in the process you destroy your forest, you destroy your streams, you destroy your paddy fields, you destroy entire village communities. And this is a temporary industry. Means once the ore is removed after 15 years, then the land is left as a barren piece and nothing will grow on it again. So you don't compromise permanent ecology for a temporary gain. Nobody does it. It doesn't make any economic sense or ecological sense or whatever, even legal sense it doesn't make, because you are really affecting the rights of people for decades to come. If you look at the veins in the body, they convey blood in one direction. The arteries convey it in another direction. So nature is it follows the same path. I mean, actually our human bodies follow nature's path. The wind comes in from the west, goes to the east and then goes back again back to the west. So the rivers are the veins, because the arteries are in the air. It's the monsoon that brings the water, but the veins that take it back. So you don't unnecessarily clog the veins with all sorts of sediment.
How sand mining affects the rivers of Goa?
Beach sand is required as a fundamental buffer between the tidal waves and the land. If you have a rock, if you have a wall, then the energy of the tide cannot be dispersed, so it destroys the wall or it destroys the rock. But if there is sand, sand is created by nature to disperse the energy of the waves. So once a wave hits the sand, because of the minute particles, its energy just diffuses. So once you remove the sand, then you're removing a very crucial thing that nature has put to keep the beach in a condition in which it can meet the energy of the waves. So once you remove that, then there is no interface between the land and the sea, and therefore you have an exponential increase in erosion, and the sand, the sea just eating away the coast or the riverbank, because we have removed the intermediary material that was there. People are given licenses and they go and extract sand, and there is no control over the quantities of sand that are removed. But the result is that they are causing serious problems with the riverbed, and the flow of the water is altered, and eventually this is affecting the riverbanks, leading to the collapse of riverbanks in many areas. The licenses are given today on the ground that there is sand, so you go and remove it. It's not given on the fact that, what is that sand doing, how much quantity can you remove, what is the total quantity available, how much can you extract from it, and so that it becomes renewable, how soon will it be replenished. Those considerations don't apply. It's the thing that the material is there, you go, extract it, take it, sell it. That's the way business is done. And that is the reason why there's a lot of opposition to this type of sand mining, because it's an artificial pressure that has been put on the riverbed because of the construction industry.
Sand mining is to some extent is important. Actually, the rivers are to be desilted because it is a heavy rain, and when rain comes, the mud and the soil also deposits in the river. So therefore, desilting is important. But desilting is hardly done, and therefore sand extraction has become a boon to a certain extent.
O turismo tem tido uma importância cada vez maior na economia de Goa, principalmente através dos barcos que levam os turistas para pequenos passeios ao longo do rio, os houseboats, bem como os casinos ancorados no rio Mandovi.
All those casinos, all the cruise boats, all the yachts has barges and fishing boats, those trawlers. They are full in the stretch of in the Mandovi from Miramar to the boat jetty.
The first offshore casino started in Goa was in 2000.
What is the number of casinos right now in Goa?
At present, if you ask me about the offshore casinos, there are number 6 casinos in Goa. As per the Goa Gambling Act, under Section 13A, it has been permitted only in the 5-star hotels in the Goa. So only outside people, like American people, like English guys, like Gulf people, they all come to Goa and they stay in a 5-star. And for that reason, Goa state government have chosen a 5-star only to put up these casinos.
How much casinos contribute for the Goan economy?
Each casino, offshore casino, pays 5 crores annual fee to the state government. Plus, every entry fee, every person who enters, suppose 1,000 people enter every day, 200 rupees per each individual who enters there goes to the government, plus entertainment tax for 10%. This goes to the government. If you have been there sometime, or you can, one day we can go there and have a look.
I will accept your invitation.
this casino industry, since it started in Goa from 1995 onward, there are a lot of people, Goan origin, get a lot of jobs on these ships. Otherwise, all boys or the young generation of Goans, they used to go abroad, like in the Gulf.
Our family are dependent on us, so it's good to work in Goa itself rather than going abroad.
I'm working from last 10 months here. I'm a dealer, working as a dealer. I love to deal, like, I want to become a professional dealer.
Enquanto os casinos vão ganhando vida, os rios dormem. Amanhã será um novo dia. E pronto, chegamos ao fim de mais um Contacto Goa. Espero que tenham gostado de estar connosco. Nós gostamos sempre de estar na sua companhia. Até daqui a 15 dias.